Welcome back to On Deck Circle podcast brought to you by the Fantasy Six Pack. I am your excited host, Nick Zaniboni, with my very good friend in his flannel, but it's April and it's a little late for flannels. But it is cold in the places that we live. So, Jason, how are you today on this wonderful Tuesday evening?
Like you said, man, it's cold. It's April 8th, and we still have. I think here in Chicago we've had one day above 70 degrees so far.
Yep. I don't know if we've hit 70 yet. I think we've been in the 60s, but I'm yearning for that baseball weather. And this is it's just that time where I'm like, let's just have our teams just like go somewhere that's in a dome. I don't want to say the West Coast just because I wouldn't be able to watch any of the games because I go to bed at 8:30. But yeah, it's not baseball weather. So hopefully in the next 10, 14 days, we start getting into that spring and we can really get some baseball going. And that brings me into my Coloba question of the week. And that's going to be Jason. What is your favorite spring? You cannot say going to a baseball game. Spring activity. Ready, set, go. All right, Jason. So what do we got?
This one's a little hard because I'm not a huge spring guy. It's pretty boring. I hate spring. It's probably I know it's not. It is. It is definitely my least favorite season. But one of my favorite things is hitting up and when it gets a little bit warmer, go to the driving range for golf. Getting out there and get a little warmed up get ready for golf season here. So
you a big golf guy?
I am. It's a little bit harder now with the kids. Just don't have the time to do it. But as the kids are getting a little bit older, starting to find some time, and I've even been bringing the kids out on the course a couple times a year now. So
are you good?
Yeah, I'm pretty good.
Really?
I'd say I'm not like, I'm going to shoot like a 70s, but I shoot
not like a scratch golfer.
No, probably 90s, low to mid 90s.
So like you break 100 consistently.
Yeah. Oh yeah, for sure.
So if you're over 100, you're pissed.
Yeah, but like as I've gotten older too now, so I was like hardcore golfer. I played high school golf. I used to always be like, I got to go out there and just try to shoot low. Now I'm like, weather's nice. We're cracking beers. We're hanging out with the boys.
Let's just have a day.
Let's just make a couple shots. Let's have a day. You know what I mean? That's, and I'm a little bit older now. I'm like, let's just have some fun with this. There's no need to, what's the matter if I shoot, an 88 versus a 95? Like, who cares? As long as I'm having a good time, we're having a good time. I don't really care too much about the score anymore.
Do you strike me as someone that just bombs it off of the tee?
Not where you're like, oh my God. I pretty much just hang out in like the 240, 250 range.
That's still pretty good. Like, I think my max is like 152. I'm very not great at golf. I'm like the so like if my friends ask me to golf, I'm the vibes guy. I'm like I'm trying to think of like a base, like a Kike Hernandez type. That's like, I'm going to be there. I'm going to be there I'll like crack a few good jokes. I'll like be like, all right, let's like get another round going. Let's get the hot dogs at the turn. Like I'm that guy, but I'm better than I was. So, and I'm long. All of my friends are like, dude, you're built to be a great golfer. And I'm like, yeah, man, I'm just not. So, yeah, that's where I'm at. For mine, when I said this, I had an answer in mind, but unfortunately, I think this is more of a summer thing, but I'm going to say it anyway.
Okay.
Just give me like an outdoor drink, as in like you're on a patio, you're at the brewery, you're getting like just some French fries, like nothing crazy to eat, just like a couple of high percentage bevs and just vibe out there. So Did you say you like Cisco or do you not know about Cisco?
No, I don't know what Cisco is.
Okay, so Cisco's a brewery like based out of Boston, and
Okay.
they're building an outdoor patio next to Fenway Park.
Oh,
And I'm
nice.
so excited for this. And I think they said it should be done by the summer. So we need to get you up here for a Sox game.
Yeah, summer. It was fall last time I was there, and
Yeah,
didn't
we
have a
need to
lot of
get you up
time.
here during the summer. We can hit a game at the Fens. Have you ever been there or no?
No, when we were there, they were out of town, so we kind of just walked around Fenway and just kind of caught the vibe.
And it's like, being completely honest, even as someone that loves and serves my city, Fenway during not baseball season is not great.
But, right.
Yeah. So what do we got today, bud?
A couple of things here before we get into the baseball things. I got to bring this up because real quick, I don't want to get too deep in the weeds of it, but as you know, I've been dabbling in the WWE world lately.
Oh, yeah.
Did not realize that Raw was back to its normal time last night. And I'm super pissed because one of my favorite stand-up comedians, Bert Kreischer, was on there last night. And I saw the highlights this morning. And I was like, shit. I stopped watching because it would have been on at like 2 p.m. And I'm not like a huge, like I need to catch up on it. If I miss it, I miss it.
You're like, I'll see it if I see it. Yeah.
It's usually on Monday nights. There's nothing going on. So I didn't catch it last night. And I saw it today. I'm like, damn, I missed it. So that was kind of cool to see that happening. I know it's like a lot of my worlds have been colliding, man. Pat McAfee's now a commentator.
Yep.
And now Bert Kreischer's making appearances on there. So I might be all in. I'm back in on WWE Raw.
Yeah. I'm a big Bert guy as well. I'm not a fan of Tony Hinchcliffe.
Oh, okay. Kill Tony
Hinchcliffe guy. But he also did commentary last night.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, because his podcast, or whatever you want to call it, his show, Kill Tony, is now on Netflix.
Yeah, so I'm
assuming.
And
that's why.
Also, not to get certain listeners upset, if you look behind the commentator desk all night were 2 members of Love is Blind, because Raw was from Minnesota last night. It's the last season of Love is Blind.
Hell yeah.
But
that's our little WWE talk for the week. All right, before we get into this week's episode, we're going to talk about Stock Watch, which players we've seen, take a nice hit in their stock, whether it be up or down through the first week of the season.
Better than our own stocks now, Jason, right?
Yeah, exactly. But before we do so, we had a little bit of some news that happened this past week. Pretty pertinent information when it comes to dynasty leagues, and that was the Quinn Priester trade to the Brewers. If you didn't know, Quinn Priester of your Red Sox was traded and sent off to the Red Sox. And in exchange, Red Sox received Yofiri Rodriguez, a competitive balance draft pick in this year's draft, a player to be named later, and cash considerations. When you look at this trade from the outside, someone that's not from Boston and a Red Sox fan, I think this is a huge win for Boston. And honestly, it was probably a win for both teams. Mm-hmm. Obviously, the Brewers quite literally overpaid for Quinn Priester, but they also were pretty desperate for a starting pitcher. A lot of injuries to that rotation to start off the season, especially with Nestor Cortez going on the IL most recently. But yeah, someone we talked about this when I sent you the trade. Yofiri Rodriguez, still young outfielder, but he was one of who was your down on the farm. Was it earlier this year?
No, dude. I think it was years ago.
Our outfield. I think it was our outfield preview
episode. Yeah, I think I've spoken about him twice. Yeah. I think it was more recent, and then I think in the Dave era, almost of down on the farms. He's someone that I've always kind of had my eye on. But like you said, seems like a home run for the Red Sox. You're trading a guy that, if we're using Quinn Priester, then we're in trouble just because of how deep we are currently. So definitely excited. I'm really excited about the comp pick just because we lost the comp a pick when we signed Alex Bregman. So this essentially just offsets that. This is essentially also an late first. If we're talking like position-wise, it comes, I think I saw the slot value is like 2.7 million or something like that. It might have been 3, but definitely close to 3.
Okay.
So It gives us a little bit more flexibility plus the cash, which is always good.
Yeah.
So also opens up a place on the 40-man.
I saw that. I saw some.
So I would not be surprised, Jason, if it's almost Roman Empire time.
Yeah.
Because he is not on the 40-man currently, and there's a vacant spot. And I really, truly think that we might see Roman Anthony by the end of April.
I was going to say, we're getting close to that Super 2 deadline as well. I've seen some of the people talking about this is definitely the writing on the wall. Roman Anthony will be with the Red Sox within the next 2 weeks. I think it's like April 26th or 27th is the deadline. So first week of May, Roman Anthony should most likely be with the Red Sox because now there's an open spot on the 40-man. And then for the Brewers side or any of your Quinn Priester owners out there, this is a huge win, I think, also for any Quinn Priester owners.
Yep.
Go to an organization that has shown time and time again they can develop and mold young pitchers. Quinn Priester wasn't always, he was a great top prospect, but he's kind of shown some struggles at the major league level. Obviously didn't break camp with the Red Sox, was back down to AAA for them. But I think him going to Milwaukee is a huge hit and a huge win for him and any Quinn Priester owners out there. So from a fantasy and dynasty perspective, there's a huge trade for both teams, and I'm excited to see where it goes from here.
Yeah, definitely like a marginal trade that is not going to get like a gigantic like ESPN. Like this isn't going to be a story, but I think it's a pretty big one for both teams just because again it's so early in the year. The Brewers clearly have some pitching issues with their like health wise, so they definitely needed it. I do have a question for you. So this is more of a baseball question, and this might be just Nick being dumb again. The Super 2 stuff. That's for the extra year of control, correct?
Correct.
So technically, could Roman Anthony win the Rookie of the Year next year?
Yeah.
Okay. So if it's past that day.
Well, it depends on how many. It all depends on how many at bats he gets. So if he were to come up in May, he most likely would exceed rookie.
Yes.
But he also could come up and then get sent back down. So, we'll see.
Because if they could get Campbell to win Rookie of the Year this year and then next year Roman Anthony and then they get those extra picks, that'd be fantastic.
Right? Yeah, that'd be huge for them. All right, so let's talk about some of these guys that we have on our stock watch this week. A couple of these guys are kind of some shockers and surprises early on.
Yeah.
First guy we're going to talk about here is Kyren Paris of the Los Angeles Angels. They've been finding a lot of ways to get his bat into the offense, into that lineup. They've been moving him all around the diamond. A bit of a utility guy here at the beginning of the year. I think he's had some starts at second, short, outfield, DH even. Right now, through the first few games, he's slashing 444, 545, 889. He's got 2 home runs, 4 RBIs. He's a perfect 4 for 4 with stolen bases. And he's got a whopping 291 WRC plus. Unfortunately, he's still hitting at the bottom of the lineup, which isn't ideal for fantasy purposes. His approach to the plate isn't the greatest. He still strikes out a lot. Got a lot of swing and misses still. But hey, this is a guy I don't think anybody was drafting in any leagues, maybe the deepest of deep leagues. He's definitely not a prospect that anyone had their eyes on. He's kind of just this guy that's kind of like a journey utility man. Has got a hot start here to 2025. And I think he was one of the most claimed guys this first waiver period.
He was. That's totally why I asked, because of course, when you texted me and said, who do you want to talk about? I'm like, I went to, I think it was ESPN or like one of the sites. And I was like, oh, highest ad rate, Kyren Paris. And I think I'm going to surprise you here. I'm out.
Yeah.
I'm selling Paris at all costs. If you can get, I'm not buying it. And if this is real and he does this for the whole season, then next year I think we get a little Jurickson Profar action and get a little PED type thing here. This is a guy that had a 35% K rate in the minor leagues. That doesn't just like go away.
Yeah.
So I think we just have like a small sample size with a hot start. So I would 1000% trade him no matter what. And like, I get it is kind of, there's 2 frames of mind here. From Dynasty, he's probably rostered. Like he's probably like a prospect in like those maybe 18 plus leagues.
Yeah.
He's probably been a prospect on someone's team because he was like a name, but like wasn't anything crazy. But in redrafts, I guess you pick him up just because you can just cut him. But in a dynasty, I am trading him within the hour because I don't trust the Angels, and like they have Christian Moore. I also understand that he's not just playing second base, but like this is gonna be a utility bench guy that is currently performing as a starter. So I would trade him while he's a starter now, and you weren't counting on him, so it's not gonna kill you.
Yeah, you nailed it on the head. I would not be buying any Paris. I think at the highest, his ceiling is probably like Luis Rengifo of the Angels. That's probably like his ceiling, and the floor is like back to AAA or like maybe starting once a week. So I'm out on Paris. I would definitely be looking to trade, or if you're in a redraft, just ride him while you can.
Yes,
in his first
ride him
couple
and then cut
weeks.
him.
And don't hesitate to drop him, especially in those 12 or 15 team leagues. Get him out of there as soon as you start to see any bit of struggles. But any long term value, I don't see any in Kyren Paris for sure. All right, get over here to our next guy here. This one is has a lot of dynasty impact for us here, and this is Chase Dollander, the Colorado Rockies. He's a former first round pick in 2023. He was a 9th overall pick. Made his debut this last Sunday. Pretty solid debut, 5 innings, 6 Ks, 4 earned, 4 hits, 1 walk. Was a victim of the long ball. However, the start was in Coors, so I mean it's a little bit too expected. I know it's early on Dollander, still only 23 years old, very high prospect pedigree. The only problem I have with Dollander again with a lot of these guys is he's on the Rockies. So at best, you're rostering or trading for or drafting half a pitcher, right? You'd never start him in Coors, so you're only starting him half his starts. And again, Colorado and I don't know, I think it's Coors Field still is undefeated, and I just can't get behind any Rockies pitcher, and it's really a shame because Dollander's a very talented pitcher, but for fantasy purposes, I just can't get there when Dollander's him being part of the Rockies.
Yeah, it's so hard because you like the player, but again, it's one of those cases where it's the Rockies, and he's a pitcher for the Rockies, which is even harder. But yeah, I mean, if you're a dynasty owner, he's on your team because he's a highly touted prospect. I would kind of just ride the wave. Pick your spots when you start him, obviously. Redraft, I think I actually got him in TGFBI. No, I didn't. I got him in Fantasy six pack.
Okay.
So I'm definitely going to start him whenever I can. But you really just need to look at the matchups. He is a high strikeout guy. So like he has a valuable skill set. So it's just kind of like you're either going to live with him or you're going to die with him. And I'm willing to live with him currently. Did you see how he found out he made it to the big leagues, Jason?
I didn't. No, it was one of those good like heartfelt moments.
Nope. He got an email from the Holiday Inn saying you have a reservation. And then they called him and he was like, hey, yeah, I know. I don't actually know if it was a Holiday Inn, but like he got an email from a hotel.
Yeah.
But I was like, oh my gosh, this traveling secretary is about to get canned for this.
Yeah. All right, before we get to our next guy here, we got a little bit of a off the cut question. And that's from Frank here. He wants to know slim pickings in a 15-team roto. Brendan Rodgers or Will Wagner on the bench. That's tough, man. But
I'm going Rodgers.
I'll say I'd probably lean Rodgers. I'm just not a huge fan of the Blue Jays offense right now. I know Will Wagner, I believe, gets most of the starts at third base for them, but I'm not there on Wagner, and not really there on Rodgers either. But for taking a flyer on somebody, I'm going to take a flyer on Rodgers, who's shown a little bit of ability at this level while it was with the Rockies. I like Houston's offense a lot better too, so I'm going to go with Brendan Rodgers for sure on that one.
Yeah, I'm with you there.
All right, from one Rockies pitcher. Our next guy is a Rockies hitter being called up, and that's Zac Veen, another former first-round pick. And ironically, was also the 9th overall pick. The Rockies love that number 9 spot in the draft.
Very funny.
That's pretty crazy. I was looking it up. They're both the number 9 pick in both their respective drafts. But being called up is supposed to be making his debut tonight. I haven't seen the lineup yet, if he's in it or not. But those were the early indications that he was going to make his debut tonight. But he brings a lot of that power speed combo they're looking for, especially for a guy in Coors or on the Rockies. The power will definitely be there. The speed, you love to see the speed. He was off to a really good start in 2025. He's got 1150 OPS at AAA so far this year. If he's available in your league, you definitely have to add him in almost any redraft, any league, even shallow leagues, just for the upside alone of him being in Coors, having power and speed. What do you think? What are your thoughts on Veen here? Are you in on him?
I'm out. I've never been a Veen guy. He was a darling. I don't remember what year it was his first year player draft, but people were like, "Oh, he's going to play up in Coors." And again, it's just someone I'm just not in on. He is in the starting lineup. He's batting 7th tonight.
I was about to pull it up. Okay.
So my big thing is, when do we start talking about the Rockies just not like in the story in Arenado? It was like, oh, Rockies hitters are going to do this. Rockies hitters aren't doing it.
I know.
Like at some point we just have to be like, okay, like what are we seeing from? I understand it's early. I mean, it's early, but Toglia is like being very bad.
Yep.
So there's just no one on this team that I'm really in. Like their team is just like a former top like you've got Moniak and Leftnat. Like it's just an island of misfit toys. Like Doyle's a good player, I guess.
Yep.
Tovar can play defense, but he misses the ball. There's just so much swing and miss in this lineup. I'm just assuming Veen's going to do the same. But I saw a rendering of him with purple hair.
Yeah. Yeah, they were I don't know if it's an official nickname, but he's being called the Joker for this purple hair.
I might be in on him then.
Okay.
I might be in now, Jason. You just turned that on me.
One thing I will say too is, from a dynasty aspect, I have just abandoned all Rocky prospects. I don't even draft him anymore. I don't care if the guy was, unless he was like basically like, maybe I can be convinced on like a 1-1. But other than that, when was the last time you look back on any of these Rockies prospects that were can't miss over the last 5 to 10 years, and you're like, I need this guy? I'm out on any Colorado. That organization just does not know how to develop prospects at this moment. And not only do they know how to develop them, when they do develop them, they never bring them up in time. And by the time they bring them up, they can never excel at their position. That's one thing I've noticed over the last year or two. I've just been avoiding all Rockies prospects in Dynasty. That's just a personal note that I've been making to myself, just because I can't. I've been burned by him one too many times.
Yeah, it's just like it's not like Zac Veen he might be a fine player, but the ceiling isn't there for me, so it's just not worth it. Yeah. So again, this is someone I would capitalize on him being called up, and that like quick excitement that people feel like if you have that owner that was like, really wish I drafted Zac Veen in that dynasty draft 4 years ago.
Right.
Okay, I'll just like kick the tires on him. I would totally trade him now.
Yeah, the best thing you can hope for is he comes up, he hits a home run, steals a bag or something, and you can immediately flip him tonight after his debut in Dynasty.
Seriously though, for real.
I got a couple more guys here we're going to talk about before we do so. They're going to talk about becoming a pro member today at FantasySixPack.net. You become a member today, you can get tons of access to tons of great stuff on our website, including all of our rankings. Joe Bond does a lot of the rankings over there. He's always top 5, top 10 in both baseball and football in those rankings. We got rest of season rankings. We got prospect rankings for all your dynasty needs. We got dynasty rankings. Tons of great content. We also have a Discord you can get access to, where you can get personalized advice and questions answered about, specific to your league. Tons of great stuff over there. Our Discord. Sign up today, become a member at FantasySixPack.net/plans, and you'll be greatly satisfied. Let's talk about some more guys here that are, I guess, a little bit of a stock watch here. And here's one guy that actually pitched. Was it yesterday or today? yesterday. Sorry, Casey Mize of the Tigers. It's off to a really good start as well. Sample size is still small. He's only made 2 starts, but he hasn't given up more than 2 runs in his first 2 starts. I was looking at some of the research why he's having so much success. Looks like he's throwing a slurve more this year instead of the slider. He's getting good results. He got 34% whiff rate, which ranks 87th percentile on that slurve. Little bit of prospect fatigue. I know he's not a prospect anymore. He's been in the majors for a few years now, but off to a good start. So are the Tigers. So I think that could be some contagiousness there with the winning. But I think a lot of the weather right now. I just can't get in on Mize. Great streaming option for redraft leagues. Play the matchups off of your bench if you got a spot that you can put them on your bench. But as far as like a auto start or start him every week, I'm just not there on him. What are your thoughts on Mize?
Unfortunately, I feel like I'm saying the same thing about all of these. But I'm trading Casey Mize as soon as I can.
Yeah.
One of my a big take I have, he wears number 12. I'm out on that. Show me the number, I'm out. So, he's been great. He pitched six innings yesterday with 1 earned run with six Ks. But Jason, you know what? I didn't start him because he was playing the Yankees. And again, it's just one of those things. He could do that, or he could get absolutely drilled. And it was snowing. Yesterday. Yeah. And I'm in these bad weather games. I'm taking the pitcher every time.
Right.
So definitely someone that I would be trading. He's got that high prospect pedigree. I think you can probably get something, especially because he was Skeens before Skeens. Like, as in, like, the thought was like, okay, this is our answer to losing Verlander. And it wasn't. So definitely someone I am looking to trade. And just kind of, you got to go with it's also okay to lose a trade. And this is one I'd be okay with losing with because it's a pitcher. It's a pitcher that's already at Tommy John. It's a pitcher for the Tigers. And I understand the Tigers are getting better, but they're still the Tigers in my brain. So definitely someone I'm looking to trade and just see what you can get, because I think the hype is probably at almost its highest at this point. So I would definitely just try and deal him.
Yeah, I think at best right now, Casey Mize is like a stash on your bench. Stream him against good outings. Stream him early in the year while it's still cold out and a lot of teams are struggling to score runs in some of these colder environments. And then hopefully that maybe the something, like I said, he's been throwing the slurve a lot more. I'm not gonna say that success is gonna continue all year, but I think that's what I was saying. At best, you just hold him and stash him on your bench. Maybe stream him once or twice whenever you can against good matchups. And I think worst case, just trade him, like you said, and see if you can get anything for him. There's got to be somebody out there that's looking for a starting pitching. I know there's a lot of injuries across the league right now. Some of your league mates could be looking for a new starting pitcher. And what better than to sell high on Casey Mize, who's got a .77 ERA through 2 starts.
Exactly. And
12 strikeouts in 11 innings. So he's off to a very good start. So it's maybe, like you said, you can get a nice haul back for him. All right, from one pitcher that's having a good start to another guy here we're going to talk about. That's none other than Jordan Hicks of the San Francisco Giants. He's now in his second year, his full-time starter. Still healthy, which is always good. Performing well early in the year. He's walking less, batters striking out more, batters compared to his 2024. Again, these are all small sample sizes, so it's kind of hard to justify some of these numbers, but still early. But his velo is actually up 3 ticks on his sinker. He's throwing his sinker a lot more. The only thing that's screwing me right now when you look at it, he's kind of falling back into that 2-pitcher mentality that he had as a reliever, where it's the sinker slider. He's basically almost given up on that split finger third pitch. He's kind of relying basically, I think almost 50% of his pitches right now are the sinker slider. But again, this is a guy that's had a lot of really high velocity. We've seen him get, high leverage situations in the past as a closer and reliever for the Cardinals. So he's gotten that experience, but Where are you at on Jordan Hicks so far this year?
I'm in on Hicks just because I've just enjoyed Hicks for a long time, whether it was him with St. Louis as that closer, but he's still so young. Like, this guy has been around for how many years? 3 years, and he was a closer, and it's his second year as a starter, and he's pitching well. His not fastball. His velocity is up almost 4 miles per hour this year.
Yep.
And it's just a matter of, the only thing that scares me off is Tommy John. Because we've seen the trend of these guys that have such an uptick of their velocity that it kind of goes, that seems to be what's causing these injuries. But I think it just took him a year to fully understand how to be a starter rather than the closer. And I'm buying this, especially at the price we paid for him was basically nothing. He was seen as like a late pick. I think in our auction I got him for $1, Jason. I'm not like entirely sure, but I'm pretty sure it's $1. Yeah, I'm in. I'm buying him in Dynasty. I'm buying him in redraft. My only concern is a horrific arm injury, but that's the risk for all of these guys. So definitely, if Hicks can be your SP4, then you're in fantastic shape. It's all a matter of just the perspective of what you expect him to be. If Hicks is your number one, then like you're not going to be great. But if he's like your 3 or like top tier 4, I think you're in very good shape.
Yeah. The good thing about it is, while he's still young, I mean, he's like 28, so he's like, for a pitcher, he's still young, right? Like,
he's entering his pitching prime.
Exactly. And the good thing is majority of those innings on that arm have all been as a reliever.
He's got a lot of bullets in there, Jason.
Yeah, last year was a career high of 109 innings pitched. So there is some optimism there as far as, wear and tear on that elbow. He does throw hard, but not a lot of wear and tear on that elbow so far as he enters. I think he's been he's only got 364 innings pitched in his career. So yeah, at the major level. So there's definitely not a lot of wear and tear on that elbow or that shoulder. So I think I Hicks, while healthy, I'm in on him.
Yeah, definitely someone that probably on waivers after the first week, like in like a redraft, but definitely need to be throwing the bag at him now.
Yeah. All right, another guy here we're talking about, someone that's to me been one of the biggest shocks of the year so far, and that's Jacob Wilson, shortstop of the Athletics. Talk about a breakout in the making. This guy is showing out to be all that and more. He's on fire right now. He's one of their top prospects. He did have a little bit of small cup of coffee last season. But so far this year, he started off this season with an 11-game hit streak, including 2 home runs, 4 extra base hits, 7 RBIs, and 6 runs scored.
Yeah, man. Jacob Wilson is, I don't know if we've ever said this name on this podcast before. Someone that we've shared leagues with, someone that I'm in a few leagues with. He's someone that I respect. His name is Ian Kundle. He runs Sox Prospects, and he's been on Jacob Wilson for since he's been drafted. And this is a guy, as an Ian, someone that I trust and respect when it comes to prospects. So he was all over this guy. And so definitely, I think I'm in 3 or 4 leagues with him, and he owns him in all of them. So definitely someone that he's hitting for a lot more average than I ever would have expected. I did expect like some sort of power from him, but the average is what's really sticking out to me. Definitely all in on Wilson. This A's team, when they bring up Nick Kurtz, is going to be, I don't know if this is, so for NBA teams, they call it like a league pass team.
Yeah.
Like the Sacramento Kings, a league pass team. I don't know what the equivalent to that. I guess an MLB TV team would be the A's, just because I think they're going to be good soon, and they just need to find some pitching, which is not easier, definitely easier
Yeah.
said than done. But Wilson, I think, is definitely is going to be their shortstop for the next 10 years. I think he's going to be. He might be close to Zach Nato, honestly, and he's not getting the respect that he's should have. So all in on Jacob Wilson.
Yeah, I mean, it's only been like 8 games or whatever it's been, but that's Sacramento Stadium is appearing to be a bandbox. Like the Cubs were there, that scored like 37 runs in 3 games. I saw something the other day or maybe it was earlier today. The Oakland Athletics have gone over in the over-under run totals every game this year in Sacramento by an average of like 5 runs over the total. And a lot of that's thanks to Jacob Wilson and Tyler Soderstrom, another guy.
That breakout is wild.
Yeah, so I know there was a lot of talk leading up, during draft season about the Oakland Athletics and the players that are on the team, and get them while you can because they might be scoring a lot of runs there. And I think there was some truth to that because right now, so far, they look to be off to a good start with a lot of those guys on that roster. So Jacob Wilson again off to an 11-game hit streak to start off the season. So get in them, get on, buy where you can if you can right now because if you can right now, it's got to be pretty expensive. But we'll see. Got some of these guys that are more on the struggling side through the first couple of games here. And it's Alec Bohm. So out to a slow start, he's slashing 200, 222, 220, just downright bad. 200 in all of the categories. He's got no home runs, only got 3 RBIs, only 1 extra base hit. He is still hitting in the middle of the order for the Phillies. He isn't striking out a ton. He's mostly just getting a lot of bad luck. The StatCast data suggests that he should be fine. My problem with Bohm is I'm still waiting around for him to do anything in his career. He came up as a really highly touted prospect. I was in on him in the first year or two. And the last couple of years, I've just been getting let down. I'm just not sure I can get there on Bohm. And to see him start off slowly in this lineup, I might be out on Bohm, man.
Yeah. This is tough. I think it's kind of just our expectations.
Yeah.
He's a fine major league player. But this is probably gonna be a bad comp. But Nate Lowe was a guy that I feel like we were like, okay, he's gonna hit 30 home runs every year.
Yeah.
And he just isn't. And I think Bohm is kind of like that. One thing I did want to say is a few days ago, the Phillies manager said, Bohm's in a good headspace with his slump. If you have to say that, then it's not great. I know we all remember maybe 2 or 3 years ago, it might have been 2 years ago, where he was being booed and he goes I fucking hate this place.
Yep.
So I'm a Bohm guy. I think he's a great baseball player. He is. But as a fantasy player, I'm not saying it. He did get off to a good start his first couple weeks, week. But now I think we're seeing what he is, a 200. He's not a 200 hitter.
No, it's like a 270,
250. It's just we saw last week. We can't with Devers. Devers goes 0 for 22.
Yeah.
It just happens. It all matters on when it happens. If this slump for Bohm happened in July, we'd be like, okay, whatever. But since it's just such a small sample, you're like, oh, he's hitting 200. He sucks.
Yeah.
But you can see here, look at this, his Savant page is seeing red. Yep. It's just a matter of luck at some points. I'm definitely not out on Bohm. As I just traded him in one of our leagues, Jason. But he's a good player. I don't know if he's going to be the best. He's not going to hit you 30 homers, but the 15 to 20, batting 280 to 295, that's the type of player he is, and that's fine.
Yeah.
But I think we ask too much from these prospects.
Yeah, I think you made a really good point. I think we need to temper expectations on Bohm. I think we know what Bohm is at this point. He's that 15 to 20 home run hitter, going to bat 280. He's in a good lineup. He's going to score 70 to 80 to 90 runs scored. probably have the same amount of RBIs, but to expect him to sit there and hit 25, 30 plus home runs and bat 300, that's just not that. That's not Bohm. So I think we just gotta temper expectations, and we have seen what Bohm is, and you're gonna get that back of the baseball card. I think what you're gonna get with Bohm, and that's that 15 to 20 home runs, 280 hitter.
Yeah.
All right, let's go to talking about the next guy here. And that's Luis Garcia of the Washington Nationals. Someone that had a bit of a breakout last year. I think we, saw what we can really get out of what we'd expect from Garcia. But unfortunately, right now he's only slashing 207, 233, 345 with a 61 WRC plus. He's got 5 strikeouts to 1 walk. Similar to Bohm, though, he's getting a lot of bad luck. A lot of the advanced metrics say that things should turn around. He's got 1 home run, 2 extra base hits. He does have 2 stolen bases. I think right now he's got to, similar to Bohm, he's got to have patience with some of these guys. Again, it's been 8 games. These are small sample sizes. So as far as like a stock watch, I don't know if I'm selling Garcia. I'm not buying him either, but if you have him, you definitely got to hold him. I think you're seeing a lot of things. A lot of the value came last year with all the stolen bases, and we're getting those stolen bases again this year. So right now, I don't think it's anything to be too concerned about. Just a slow start. It's in Washington. It's playing in Washington.
Yep.
Cold there too, I'm sure.
It is. I just got back.
Oh yeah.
I was in the DMV area over the weekend. For me, I've just never been a Luis Garcia guy, so like it's just gonna continue. I think he burned me once, and I was just like, all right, I'm good. Like that's it. He's kind of just like a nothing burger to me. I do understand the value in the stolen bases, but like you can find other stolen bases other places.
Yeah, especially in this day and age where like everyone seems to be running and everyone's getting 20 stolen bases. Yeah, again, I'm just holding Garcia. I just thought it was kind of shocking. He was someone I think was being drafted as a top 10 second baseman at draft season, and he's off to a little bit of a slow start. But don't worry yet. Don't sell off those Luis Garcia shares. I think he'll be back to himself once it starts warming up here a little bit.
I'm with you.
All right, I got one more guy here before we get out of here, and that's going to be a homer pick here, and it's going to be Matt Shaw, the Cubs. My rookie of the year pick, maybe a little prehensive, but he's off to a nice cold start. He's looked overmatched at times at the plate. He's only slashing. What's that? He's slashing 190, 333 with a slugging of 286. The walks are pretty much the only bright spot right now in his game. That and his defense. He got 2 extra base hits. One of them was a home run while it was in Arizona where it was warm and the air is thin. He hasn't even attempted a stolen base. But again, like I said, his defense has been really good. He looks every bit of a third baseman. I don't think he's overwhelmed there at third base, which is where he moved over to from second base. So the defense will keep him in the lineup. That and the Cubs don't have a third baseman. So he'll continue to get at bats. Hopefully he'll break out of it at some point here, but it's not looking so good for the rookie here in the early on of the season so far.
Yeah, I think you like you said the OBP is not bad. He's still getting, he's getting on base, and he's been playing some good defense. So I think there's no worry here. It's just more of like if the Cubs worry, then you should worry.
Yeah.
But I don't think this is going to be like a Mason Wynn type of situation where there's just no one else. And like we waited out the Mason Wynn, who is getting better the last week or so. So I'm totally in on staying here. I did not know Matt Shaw from Massachusetts.
Yeah, he played for Maryland. He went to the University of Maryland.
Yeah. So, but he's from Springfield, the home of the Basketball Hall of Fame.
Oh, very nice.
Yeah, that's a fun fact. But yeah, I'm not dropping him, and definitely not dropping him in Dynasty. Wouldn't trade him in Dynasty either because you'd be selling low. I'm probably looking to trade for him in a redraft just because you can probably get him for next to nothing.
Yeah, at least stash him for another month or two and see what he can do.
Yeah, like he's close to, because he is the batting average is low, so he might be being dropped in those average redraft leagues, and I think that's when you kind of need to like sees the opportunity to kind of just like grab him. But yeah, I'm still in on Shaw for sure.
Yep. All right, before we get out of here,
we're finally on the board, Jason.
Yeah, the Red Sox.
Last week. Sox.
Yeah.
Right. I would like you to go first because I forgot about the segment.
No worries. I got a couple of good ones. I put a bunch of bets in today. Some of them already happened this afternoon, so I couldn't even tell you right now. You couldn't even tell them. But I think I'm gonna go with this one. Another homer. I'm gonna ride the Cubs. The Cubs, after being like a bottom 5 in run differential after the first like 4 games, are now the league leading in runs scored, the league leading in run differential. They go against, get this, Patrick Corbin today, who's now on the Rangers. The Rangers signed Corbin like a week ago. He hasn't even pitched all spring training. I don't think he's even made any rehab starts in the minors. He's just going out there cold. So my best bet's going to be the Cubs team total over 4.5 runs. Corbin has a career 4.5 ERA and a 5.71 ERA since 2021. And again, hasn't pitched since September of last year. So I'm going to ride the Cubs hot bats and see if they can get 5 runs, which they've done, I think, 5 out of the last 6 games. So
okay, I like that. You're gonna absolutely adore mine, Jason.
All right.
I know you're a big Nerfy guy.
Yep.
Twins Royals.
Okay.
Pablo Lopez versus Cole Reagans.
Nice.
Sign me up. Minus 145, so not great, but also not bad. So that's mine for sure. I do want to, since we are technically at the end of the show, I have a question for you. How's the Kyle Tucker experience going?
It's been amazing. And every day that goes by and we don't extend him gets me more and more mad, especially when we see teams like Boston, the Vladdy, Boston, all their guys, Vladdy, yep. Jackson Merrill gets an extension. And meanwhile, we not only have a great hitter that we traded for, we have the best hitter in baseball through the first 8 games of the season. Yep. And we haven't even heard a blink of any sort of whispers of an extension.
Were there, is there anything like at all? Like, was there anything in spring training that was like, okay, we're going to work on this?
No, the only thing we've heard so far is that the Cubs are so poor that they barely break even every year, even though the stats came out last year that they were top 5 in profit to revenue differential. They were like plus 300 million when it came to revenue differential. Meanwhile, Tom Ricketts has the audacity to come out and say that the Cubs are barely breaking even every year, and therefore, but don't get me wrong, we are like top 5, I think, in payroll, but you're also top 3 in revenue. So I don't want to hear anybody. I don't want to hear the Cubs crying to me that they're broke.
Dude, now he's been so good.
So good. Now I will say I don't want to see a 14-year, $500 million contract. But if we can get like 10-year, I'll go with 10-year. I mean, granted, he probably wants more than 10-year, but if it gets to be about like the All-Star break, and I don't know, man, I'm worried. Every day that goes by, especially the beginning of the season when extensions are usually done, and when it doesn't get done, has me worried. And I'm almost gotten to the pessimistic point where he's just going to walk in free agency and get paid by like the Yankees.
I don't know if the Yankees, dude, he's been, but again, we have to look at it one way. Last year, great start again, but then gets hurt. So we kind of just got to wait and see. But also, someone we probably could have talked about was Cam Smith.
Yes, I've thought about putting him on there. He's been awful.
He's been very bad.
I wouldn't be shocked if he's back down in AAA by like next week.
Yeah, it's been bad. And like I'm not saying this just to kind of like toot my guy's horn, but like when you look at Christian Campbell and you look at Cam Smith, you see 2 completely different ball players.
Yeah. Yeah. Again, Cam Smith didn't even have like a full year of minor league hitting. So they definitely fast tracked Cam Smith, and he probably shouldn't have been with the major league club, and I think it's kind of showing its head now why he shouldn't be. I think he has 1 hit so far this year, if I'm correct. I'd have to look it up.
I don't
pretty
even
sure it
know.
only has like one hit. It's pretty bad. It's not looking good for Cam Smith so far this
He's
year.
batting 111.
I think like one of his hits was like the very first game. And
2 hits in 18 at bats, minus
Yeah.
2 WAR.
Yeah.
Yeah, just send him down. But it's so hard because they had such a moment when they called them up.
Yep.
Like it's so hard to do that send down.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not great. So we'll see.
But hey, maybe next week we'll be able to talk about a Kyle Tucker extension for the Cubs. We'll see.
You know what, Jason? Next week we're going to talk about a Kyle Tucker extension, and then both of our guys, our biggest fears going into this season, was to get Garrett Crochet and not get an extension done. But yours, which seems very real, especially after the Vladdy contract, because Kyle Tucker is a better. I know the casuals might not believe this. Like if you were to talk to your friend that doesn't like pay attention to baseball, he's like, it's Vlad Jr. He's better than Kyle Tucker.
Yeah.
No, Kyle Tucker is a top 3 hitter. Like
he's an MVP candidate every year he's healthy enough, and we're just kicking the can along the street here and hoping that we can. I don't know. Hopefully it gets done.
We'll see. All right, Jason.
All right, Nick. We'll talk next week.